We out
No,
here.
actually, I kind of wish it was.
Okay, now we are live. Hello and welcome to my 3-year anniversary celebration of this show, In Between the Pages with James Lott Jr. That's right, 3 years. I've done 155 episodes.
No, actually, I kind of wish.
It's kind of crazy.
Okay.
It's kind of, oops, I gotta do that. Oh, that's me again. Technology, folks, technology. It is. We all do it too. We all four of us do it. So there's supposed to be 5 of us, but someone just didn't show up. So oh well. But I have 3 very important people who I'm glad they always show up for me. Especially 2 of them show up for me all the time. And Adam is a newer one for me. But he showed up for me before too. They're going to talk and talk about content creation. I'm going to ask some questions while I give you some facts about my show. I do 37 shows on this network, basically. I mean, I don't do all of them, but there's 37 shows on my network. And this show is one of them. And so I'm very proud to do this. And hey, I'll tell you why I started it in a second. That was something that I didn't like. My guests. Okay. I'll make sure the chat is open. I know somebody's chat has some weird stuff. Make sure the chat is open. Okay, it's open. Okay. The person, I'll say to my left, he is my gap tooth twin. He has a show called According to Woods. He does like 10,000 episodes of that show, and I was on it once, but he's always all the time doing that show. I mean, I think it's on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Adam K. Woods.
What's good, party people?
I feel like the show's always just on. I like it's just always on.
It is. I mean, you're like, oh, celebrated like 200 or whatever. I think I might have done that last week.
Yeah, you might did.
At least it felt like it, but it's cool, you know, which is, again, I thank you, James, for having us, because again, you were one of the ones like 3 years ago who thought this would be a real thing to have a network aside from FCC regulations and all that. You did, good sir, right? And
what?
All of you with your AfterBuzz kind of attaches and what have you, like I was looking afar when I was kind of trudging the local MMA and pro wrestling scene, doing interviews, and I was like, one day I could be like these 3. And guess what? Today's the day. So yes, it was meant to be a celebration of you, James Lott Jr., but I am going to celebrate all 3 of you because it is the 3-year anniversary. So thank you, Tony. Thank you, Flobo. Thank you, James.
Dude, preaching, bro. Like he went to a whole sermon, man. Like, oh, well.
3 is the magic number. And the person who you just hear talking right now, I bug the shit out of him all the time, but I know he loves me deep down. He has his own network. It's New Amsterdam, and he's spelled like a pun, and he hates puns. It's KNW Amsterdam, which makes me very happy. He has the boisterous crew too, which makes you just laugh with delight. But he has many shows, and I'm on half of them. He's on half of mine. His actual story that he wrote years ago called Isn't Izzy will be premiering this Saturday on my show, the Really Short Story Project. I'm very excited. Mr. Flobo Boyce.
Yo, thank you so much for having me, James Lott Jr. You know, this is Iron Sharpens Iron. When I was like, man, who's doing content, killing it? It was this dude, JLJ Media.
Thank you very much. Oh, and someone is here. I'll let him in a second. Okay, the person who I say this all the time on camera, in front of people, not just in the mirror, by myself. This person literally, I would probably not be doing video content if it wasn't for this man, because he started a show 7 years ago at AfterBuzz TV. 6 years ago, AfterBuzz TV first it was called the Days of Our Lives After Show, but it was renamed Dishin Days. We've done so many projects together on his channel, my channels, our channel. We've done many things together. One of my besties and just a legend, Mr. Tony Moore.
I don't know about legend, but hi, everybody. You know, the only reason why you started doing this was because I had a booking and I had to go out of town for my show and they needed a fill-in.
And I was a fill-in.
That's how he started. Filling in for Tony Moore. Now he's trying to look like Tony Moore.
I am. In there. Okay. Now, there's a person coming in, BrandonLarkins. He'll be in a second. I know he's probably connecting. I'll give him a big intro also. But I want you guys like, subscribe, comment. This is JLJ Media. This is my online network. I started this thing a year ago, but the channel's been up for 9 years this month. Can't believe it. So go ahead and like, subscribe, comment. Also, I'm on all audio platforms. Just go to JLJ Media, go to James Lott Jr. You will see it. And there is BrandonLarkins.
Hey, everybody.
With an entrance. Coming in with an entrance.
That wasn't an entrance, bro. That was I'm old and I forgot.
Hey, there you go.
Here I am.
You here?
You're here.
Yeah, what up, Tone? What up,
Hi.
Tone? What's up?
How's it going?
So Brandon Larkins.
It's going. It's
Brandon
a lot
Larkins.
going on, but praise God, it's all good.
Yes, Brandon Larkins has Monogamy the series. He also has Cartoons Jessica Wu. He was on The Wire. He did a lot of different things. He's on many of my shows over the years. He has some upcoming projects he's working on right now. And so Brandon Larkins. That's what makes sure.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for having me, J Lott. I just want to say that I'm glad you listened to me to grow that hair out, brother. I told you a year ago. Hey, Tone, I told him a year ago, bro, grow the hair out.
So did you tell him a year ago to start looking like me?
Well, not in so many words, but I told him grow his hair.
Okay, so all this time I thought it was James, but it was actually you. You're the source of the hair growth.
It definitely was me, bro. I'm gonna take all the credit.
All right. Okay. Okay.
So I love it. So these are my peeps here, and in celebration of my birthday week and my anniversary, I pulled out the birthday chalice. This is filled with booze.
Happy 354 years, James.
I'm gonna toast with the Gatorade, bro.
Let's toast the Gatorade. You're in shape, so that's fine. Okay.
I got water.
I got wine, but it came out of a box. Does that count?
Right. Yeah, that counts.
Okay.
I'm currently in a shape. It's not very good. Not very good.
Oh, so funny. So everybody, I want to tell everybody why I start. Oh, alrighty.
Oh,
I guess I'll come back.
There you go.
Did you pay the bill? So what's going on?
Apparently, no. My production assistant just said, "Fuck off."
Not the production assistant.
Is that your kid? Is it? I hope he's the kid.
Like there he is. Now there he isn't.
There you go.
So I started this show 3 years ago today, and the first thing I worked on was this famous book you may remember, "Go to Fuck to Sleep." Remember this book, folks? This is a huge hit book that came out. If you're a parent, this book was for you.
Wow.
And if you have to, go to Audible and listen to Samuel L. Jackson read this book. It's worth the price of admission.
Ain't nobody going to sleep listening to Samuel L. Jackson tell you to go to sleep.
That's the point. It's effing hilarious. So I decided to start this show because I was unhappy. And I'm a person who believes if you don't see it, be it, right? So a former network that I worked at, AfterBuzz TV, had a channel called Book Circle Online. And I was with them for several years, and I was mistreated towards the end. And I decided I didn't like the things that they were doing there. So instead of complaining, I did try to change things, didn't work. Did drink that tea, folks. I have no shame. They're not in business anymore. I decided to start my own.
So light content's the best content. I've done that before. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm just like, do it yourself, James. Do the stuff that you want to do. Have the authors you want to talk to. And I was a person who likes to talk to all kinds of people, including people of color.
Y'all just be doing shit left and right,
we should all take a sip.
I'm not partaking in that. I did not.
I don't want to be left out.
I mean, now I feel weird now. Okay.
I already took my sip.
So
you know, you should be there too, though, T.
Listen, I got stories of my own, so
yeah. We were only guests. We don't know what you all knew, though. I walked into the studio thinking everything was peachy keen. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know. You know,
we were good actors. So anyway, I decided to do it myself, and it's been very successful. Out of my 37 shows I currently have, this show is number 22 out of them. It does really well for me. It's close to 10,000 views and downloads in the last year and a half.
Hey.
Thank you. So I appreciate people who have come on. I've had folks from people like this. She's a total best-selling author, Margaret Daly, to Dr. Nikisha Hammond, to Emmy winners Vincent Irizarry and Martha Byrne. People like Sean Riviera from As Yet, a 90s group, Dr. Callie Esses. I've had comedians like Mark Christopher Lawrence, my buddy, and Tamara Katane. I've had Michael DeBarge on several times. I've had so many guests that have come on from varied walks of life, talk about creating content, creating either books, movies, screenplays, authors, poets, spoken word artists, singers, songwriters, playwrights, anybody who just does anything with there's just pages behind it. Showrunners, that's what this show is all about. That's what we do for them. And all of you create content. All of you do that.
Well,
And we know it's not easy, right, folks? You don't just wake up and do it. You have to put it together. So I want to ask you, Adam Woods, first. I'll go to you first.
First
I've been on
one,
your
boom.
show. He does 10,000 episodes of the show.
Yeah, it's nuts.
What keeps you motivated in the game?
People's stories. You know, when I first started the According to Woods podcast, that was after doing interviews and, you know, for MMA and pro wrestling on the regional scene here in Southern California. And it was just the story, right? That was it. And when I found like a StreamYard type, you know, avenue that you could basically, hey, put it out there for people to consume, reach out to as many people as possible. It became like Pokemon, the stories, because in my kind of mind's eye, if the story weren't told online or what have you, because how many people, especially pre-COVID, did we see and maybe not appreciate or not know where they came from, but we saw them, you know, and not really appreciate the story. So to me, it's capturing the story, you know, and kind of pushing myself to be a better storyteller, which all of you guys, again, I feel humbled that I'm here on this platform to celebrate this auspicious occasion, because all of you guys I look up to. And that's another thing that, you know, pushes me, because I am far from the best podcaster or audio and visual storyteller. And guess what? The generation after me is probably going to be even better. So I have to be on my toes. I literally, if I feel like people have a good rapport and whatever, and I'm like, hey, start your own podcast, with the total like realization that, again, if them starting their podcast and they have a following that's even bigger than mine or whatever, like, I'm going to help them out, but also, like, again, I have to raise my game. So that's what drives me, you know, and creating a legacy that, you know, my parents unfortunately are not here anymore. And this is something that for my kids and my grandkids, like, not only can they like watch me, but like they hear what I sound like, they, you know, and they can relate it to their lives and growing up with me. And it's me in my like final form, essentially. So whatever, you know, when I become dirt or whatever, this is something that they can look at and like, hey, dad, granddad, he was at an impasse in his life, and, you know, I'm like, wanted to do something more, right? Well, now I'm in a similar impasse in my life, whether that be a relationship, a job, or, you know, a financial kind of strife and whatever. Well, guess what? Dad, granddad did it too. So whatever that is for me, whatever podcasting or storytelling is for me, for them to do that.
I recently realized that I'm a grandfather of 4. I have a latest grandchild. I'm going to see them finally into this month after a year.
Congrats.
They're in Sacramento. I'm very excited. And they're getting older, so they've always known. For some of them, I was always doing this. You know, I was always on TV or doing this. So they're finally getting it on some level. They're like, Papa Jane does this. Papa Jane, he does interviews. Like, they didn't know what I was doing. I was like, he's just gone. But they're starting to get it, and I thought, like, oh wow, for them, because my grandparents are dead. I don't have any videos of them or anything. They literally have videos of me that they can say they want to see me. They can go online and see me dressed as a bat for one show, or dressed as Santa, and they can go in to see all kind of craziness that I do, or see me cry on TV, which I've done many times also on my shows. But they get a chance to see pieces of me whenever they feel like it, because now it's out there in perpetuity. It's there. And I thought about that recently. It's really weird, because you and I are both grandparents, and I thought I never thought about that before until just recently. This new grandchild I got, Trenton, I'm thinking he's gonna just know me as this, from his birth. He's just gonna know that Papa Jamie is just out there. And so it's a very interesting thing to have that behind you. That's a good point. Brandon, I want to ask you a question, because I've known you from acting to producing. I know you're always a writer and stuff, but you're a part of other people's projects, and now you're working on yours now.
Mhm.
What was your impetus into switching from co to solo?
I think for me, it was developing that confidence of being a co-executive producer, being a co-producer on so many other colleagues of mine projects, and me finally saying, it's my turn now. I feel that God put something in me that said, it's time for you to go and create your own. And for me, it's one of those things where I wanted to create an opportunity for someone else. The same opportunity, and I've said this many times before, the same opportunities that was created and given to me, I want to create platforms and opportunities for other individuals who may not get looked at, or who may get passed up, or who can't make it into the room, who may not have representation, or who may not have a gajillion followers out there though. You know, I said this before, you know, The Wire from HBO put me out there, but there was a casting director that took a chance on me, because I tell people all the time, a lot of you all see Brandon Larkins, The Wire actor, blah, blah, but what they don't know is that Brandon Larkins started off doing background work on The Wire. And he's still very grateful to talk about that, because that background work led to a day player role, which leads to other things. But like I said, it was a guy by the name of Seamus Fisher that took a chance with me, and he didn't know me from Adam. And he would book me on the show.
Yeah,
And I never, ever forgot that.
Mm-hmm.
So now, fast forward some 17, 18 years later, as my own executive producer and creator of a new show that I have come out and stuff like that, now I too want to create those opportunities for other individuals. I know what it's like to be passed up or to not get in the room. I know what it's like to not be in the it crowd and stuff like that though. You know, because there's a lot of, I would say there's a lot of untapped talent in so many different professions. Most of us just need an opportunity. It's not that you can't do the job.
Mm-hmm.
It's because sometimes we don't get the opportunities. So now I'm creating opportunities, and that's a great feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I know you are,
That's
and
well said.
I know well said, and I know some of the projects you've been part of, your colleagues were the same. And you know how I am. I've always been that way. I've always tried to talk to all kinds of people and get people through the door. And now with my audio dramas, I'm giving people a chance to do this, play roles that they never get offered, that they'll never get offered. Give them a chance to do that, because I think it's very important. I always say diversity should be normality. It shouldn't be the special thing. It shouldn't be special. It should be just normal. Just get me in the room, see what I can do. Just see what I can do. See what I can do. And maybe I am right for the job. Let me just, but like we said, we came and get in. All of us are black men here. We know how it is. There are 10,000 men look just like me. There are 10,000 men look just like you, Brandon. 10,000 men look like Flo. They look like us out there. And half of us don't even get a chance.
Yeah.
So they look like you, Tony.
There's one in the room that's trying to look like me.
And it's working. It's working. God bless America. I gotta try to stay younger. But I agree with you on that. I'm just very much about that. And Tony, I want to ask you,
Me?
do you ever, because I know you don't, you say I call you a legend because you've done a lot of different things. And I know, and I talked to you, and I've done a lot of stuff, but you have done things where people have seen you on TV shows, like literally on national television stages, like you were with the Braxtons, you've done, game shows. You've done certain things in your life. You know certain people in the business who are big names, just in the work that you've done. What does that mean to you when you look back at some of this stuff? What does that mean to you now?
They were great opportunities. That's how I look at it. I never stepped into any of those thinking that this is it. This is the big break. This is the thing that, is going to catapult me, or this is the thing that someone's going to see this and they're going to want to call me into the room. Or it was an opportunity to further show me, all the game shows that I've been on. It was just an opportunity for me to show my personality in a very laid back kind of a way. The opportunity with the Braxtons, I was very grateful for that opportunity because one of the line producers that I knew on the show was a friend of mine and knew that I loved the show. And got me on, and it was great. It was a great opportunity. So I look at those as, that little stepping stone to show other people what you can do and show other people who you are. And, if something comes out of it, great. But I never went into it thinking that like, okay, this is the ball rolling. The ball had already been rolling. It just rolled into this opportunity, and then it rolled into the next opportunity, and it rolled into the next opportunity. That will eventually prepare me for that big opportunity that will catapult everything. So that's how I look at it.
No, I'm similar. So I know for me, people may not know this, but 14 years ago, I was at a dinner party at the Magic Castle, visiting. I was living in San Francisco. I was doing insurance education, a whole different world.
What haven't you done?
I've done everything: nursing, retail.
Your LinkedIn must look amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, all the jobs and stuff that you have had, I'm sure somebody's looking like, well, I mean, he could do this too if he wanted to.
Yeah, why not?
I've lived a lot of different lives.
Yes.
But 14 years ago, I'm sitting at a Magic Castle watching, tricks be done or whatever. And the chick next to me goes, "You should be on television." I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure. You should be on television. I can get you on television." And it's you know what? It was saying yes just to that. Again, not thinking I'll be a star. Just going, this will be an interesting experience. I'll come down to LA for a couple of days and do a show. And the show was called House. And it was the number one show at the time. Mm-hmm. And I did it. I did episode 4, season 4. I played Dr. Simpson. And I met Hugh Laurie and everybody. And I did it. And it was such fun. I caught the bug. I said, I want to be in Hollywood. I hate my job. I want to be in Hollywood. So
I never knew that.
No, you never knew that? Oh, I'll tell you, never knew that? Yeah,
no,
that's how I started.
You never said that you was on the TV show House playing Doctor Who?
Bro, seriously, I ain't know that either, man.
No, you know what either. That's why, yeah, that's the story.
Well,
and Hugh Laurie knows me. We always say
I actually knew that one, actually.
James talks about everything else under the sun. He never said.
Ever.
I was on House as Dr. Who you say, Samson?
Simpson.
Dr. Simpson.
And I ain't know that.
I heard that story. I mean,
yes.
Oh, you're one of the fortunate ones then, bro. Because
apparently, I know I was chosen. I had no idea I was chosen. I thought it was common knowledge.
Barely. In my 5 years of knowing him, he ain't never mentioned HOUSE ever.
I live in HOUSE.
And all the doctors that you had to play, Dr. Simpson, did it take place in Brentwood? Because I feel like that's typecasting.
I knew Adam was going. Adam was going to go there.
I knew he was going to do that. We're going to ignore him for a second.
Not to ignore.
It's a man's question, though.
Not to ignore.
Actually, I did a show called Privileged after that, and that was filmed in Brentwood. I was on the turned out to be the series finale. We thought it was the season finale. And it was me, Kathy Griffin. She did the marriage of the gay couple. I was the brother of one of the gay couples.
Wow. You see, nobody can follow you, James. That's it. They had to shut everything down.
How you over here with a whole side acting career and didn't tell nobody?
Because I don't want to be an actor. That was I did it.
Wow. He got in it and was like, I'm done? Really?
I did a couple of commercials with the guy, Can You Hear Me Now guy. I did those, and I was done. I said, James, I want to be in charge.
You're not done.
You have booked more than I have.
Yeah.
You think so, really, Tony?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna put him out there, Mr. I don't want to be an actor.
Mister,
in Casey from the Bold and Beautiful say they were going to write you in for a guest starring role.
Yes.
All right. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Right.
I ain't trying to put his business out there, brothers. But I'm just saying.
Here's the deal, and you're right. I did a movie 2 years ago with Vivica Fox, a Christmas movie that came out. It was Second Chance at Christmas.
Yeah, with your buddy Gerald.
What?
Your buddy Gerald, right?
Yeah, Gerald Webb. He wrote a role for me and said, "You're doing it, James." So I did it.
What happened? And there was somebody else that wrote a role for you too in the show.
I know you
did. Me.
Brandon Larkins.
Oh, Brandon Larkins. The Wire Zone, Brandon Larkins. Forever in the Day Zone.
So, hey, you got a gajillion talents out here that would love to be a part of these things. And this joker talking about, I don't want to be an actor. But
how was that?
We writing them in though.
And
Yeah.
then,
You know what I mean? You gotta understand, people come to LA looking to be discovered. He got discovered and was like, I'm over it. Like for
Right,
real.
absolutely. The only role that was
Wow.
written for me was by Costco when they delivered my toilet paper on Instacart. That's the only role. That's the only role. And it didn't even have my name on it.
Wow.
Number one call sheet.
yes, I have an IMDb, whatever. But the point is, I came to this business late. I was in my 40s when I came to this business. I came later. I came later. I didn't come to
Morgan Freeman came late.
Morgan Freeman entered this industry late.
Yeah.
Like
40s when he did the electric company, I want to say.
But I feel like Morgan Freeman has always been old. So James, you do have a career.
That's a good one.
Yo, you know you wrong for that, yo.
He was always old. Like
No,
you.
Flobo Boyce. Let's
Yo.
talk to you. Let's talk to you now.
I want to go back to like Tony Duncan on you. That was dope.
Yeah, of course. So I always we joke around and stuff, whatever. But I think Flo is a really talented host. So Flo, I want to ask you, as someone who started from, like the rest of us, started from scratch.
Yeah.
Who were your inspirations to actually turn into a network? Because you could just have just a YouTube channel with a few videos.
Yeah.
What made you decide to methodically have you understand radio? What's up, Flow? You have shows. You have all your shows.
Yeah.
Who are your inspirations?
It's funny because the answers are on this panel. That's James Lott Jr. and Adam Woods. And I'm not trying to blow smoke. When I first started doing What's Up Flobo Classic, the vlog series, when I was just like, we'll talk to my camera and thinking about what I can do. And I was like, well, I look at James Lott, JLJ Media at the time, and how you were able to have different interpretations, different spins on things, review shows. I thought you were great at serving many different audiences. So there was, okay, this is James Lott Jr. reviewing books. This is James Lott Jr. doing Days of Our Life. This is James Lott Jr. having his own very short show. So it's kind of everything else. That's really quick. Sorry, not really short, because it was a story project, but really quick transition. Yeah. But then at the same time, I would look at Adam Woods. Now he looks at me and goes, "You to go." But I'm like, the frequency of according to, because he has. I mean, I'm not to speak for you, Adam. You have one show. It's According to Woods. Everything is According to Woods. And it has a niche, but it doesn't. And it was like, it didn't matter what day it was or what time it was. Didn't matter what time zone it was doing. Didn't matter who it was. It was like, I was always afraid to go outside with my friends. And Adam was pulling people that I saw on TV. And so I think that was the first time when I told you, because Adam was like, I was like, yo, Adam, I want to talk to Janae Harding, how I do it. He goes, it's easy. Oh no, how I do it. And I did it. And Janae was on my show, and Janae Harding was amazing. Hollow Point, with the caller, the MMA circles. It was great. But I watched Adam, who didn't have the fear that I had, just do it. And I was like, well, if he's rolling the dice, I can do it too. So like, it's funny. It really was like the boredom, not being able to do comedy, but then looking at being different and disciplined in what you want to put out, and also not being afraid of shooting your shot from Adam. So it was like kind of you and to combine. Yeah.
Very nice. That's right. See, Adam. See. Very
Stop.
nice.
Stop doing that.
You know, what's funny, because a lot of things I learned from Tony, just because watching him do the Dish and Day stuff, and also his other shows he done did. I don't know where English came from all of a sudden. Ebonic. What he done did, and I saw that, you know, and talk about this a little bit, Tony, because we talk about this all the time. We told folks once before, you can't be afraid. You just have to kind of shoot the shot and just do it, right, Tony?
Yeah, you just have to do it. The scariest thing is pitching yourself. That's what I've realized. It's pitching yourself and making someone who is not familiar with you see value in you. Right. So when you're sending that email to that publicist or DMing that celebrity that you really want on your show, you're essentially trying to show them that, one, you're great at what you do. Your show is of value. It may not garnish, Access Hollywood type numbers, but you're still creating a comfortable, wonderful, informative, entertaining environment that you're welcoming them on. And so once you get past all of that, sometimes you just have to say, you know what, I'm going to do it. I know what I have is great. I know that my talent is great. I know that my skills are great. If they say no, they say no, but hey, at least I tried. And I've gotten a whole lot of no's. I have sent many emails to publicists requesting people, and it's been no. And then I've seen those same people that I asked for show up on someone else's show who's just very much like mine. And, you know, I have to consistently remind myself that I don't know how they pitch themselves. I don't know what they came in with, but it's not disregarding my show, because sometimes they come back around and then they suddenly want people on your show, or they see what you're doing and things like that. And then you have to have a moment where you're going to decide whether you're going to be Petty LaBelle or if you're just going to really try to, like, mend that relationship. But that's the biggest thing that holds us back is fear. Even when it comes to creating content, it's that fear of, will people watch? Will people like? Will people share? Will people tune in? And sometimes when you just say, you know what? I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this because I believe in myself. I know that there are people who believe in me. I know that my product won't come out perfect, because I'm like this. I will spend, and James knows this, I will spend unnecessary amount of times like going through and thinking and making notes and saying, okay, but then you eventually have to look at that idea and go, I have to try it, because I'm not going to know how it's going to work out unless I try it. And so getting over that fear and, showing your content and doing your content, you have to break through that fear in order to do what it is that you ultimately want to do. Because if you're going to be fearful all the time, you're not going to get to whatever goal or destination that you want to get to.
Yes. And Adam, is there a guest that you're still waiting to get?
You know what? I'm waiting for people to not go talk to my manager, because it's see, I'm one who I'm kind of punk rock about my stuff, right? Where I have yet to do a headshot and have lived in LA since 95, and not to say that that isn't cool or to kind of denote anybody that does. I just never did. Like, I was a radio guy when I was going from Inglewood to Huntington Beach, right? To kind of
That's a drive.
No, it was a bus. That was back in 2003. That was a bus, a 4-hour each way kind of trek. And then we had the bus strike that happened, and $20,000 later, I got charged and didn't even get, my full school tuition. And even that was in a way to take on my family lineage, because my grandfather in Fiji was the very first broadcaster in Fiji, right? Non-BBC and what have you. So for me, I was a radio guy, like, at least I thought I was, until this thing. And then I started to kind of deconstruct what a radio guy is, right? Like, somebody that has to basically intern for 5 to 15 years and not get any money, or, just passing out tickets to concerts and whatever, or, not getting airtime until you sold $20,000 a month worth of ads and whatever. And, being on a format, good God, like, a format, literally hit them up with 90% of the people. I send them the link to former UFC, champion Josh Barnett. I'm like, hey, if Barnett can do it, and he did it literally a month after he did Joe Rogan, hey, take a chance on this guy, right? Mm-hmm. And that's all I say. And they're like, oh, is there a format? Like, we're gonna check the connection like 10 minutes before we go on. That's it. And we're gonna go as long as you want or whatever. And I kind of feel like, I have a great like rapport to know when you're like kind of wearing thin and whatever, so I know how to cut it down and whatever. But like, it's all been a process, and I kind of discovered I'm not a radio guy at all. I'm this, whatever this is, and a content creator. I never thought of myself as it, because, like, again, I was waiting since 2003 for an opportunity not to have FCC regulations or to be able to have a studio apartment, not in Chicago, Illinois, Thanks, Colt Cabana. But no, like just here, you know, and I knew my mom, right, who passed away in 2013. That was her dad. That was the broadcaster in Fiji. If she knew that I had accessibility to the world and I have a studio in my apartment, she'd say, why aren't you doing 8 a day, 8 a week, or whatever? So really, I'm running a race that I know is already finished because I'm trying to prove to my mom and dad that they should be proud of me, but they're not here to see. So until I'm satisfied and hear that, whatever, I'm going to keep on going. And probably even after that.
It's funny because, I mean, I don't know if my mother's proud of me or not. I have no clue. I don't know if she listens to my shit or not. I don't know if she does or not.
But he ain't worried about you. She had big lots.
Thank you. Yo, Big Lots.
Yo, Big Lots is dope, Joe. Don't be like on Big Lots.
We look alike. We're twins. That's all we do. We look at each other and that's it. I have no idea. I have no idea what my family thinks in some ways. I just don't. And so it's funny because I literally do it for me. Like whatever I do is literally for me. It's to feed me. It's to and then for other folks. I mean, it comes inward and outward. It's like, well, who can I have my show today? Who can I retweet their thing today? Who can I post in their store? I mean, I always feel like that's my service. That's what I need to do. And that's just kind of but it's for me. I've had to learn how. I come from a big family. You know, one of those folks that just always was left alone, latchkey kids, whatever the upbringing. So I'm used to just doing it for me and kind of making sure that I'm okay and that it works for me. Now, I want to ask you, Brandon. Because you came out here, you said 17, 18 years ago. I know a lot of your stories.
13 years ago.
13. So now your family's cross country. You know, you're out here by yourself. What has kept? I know there's been tough times, stuff. I know that already. But like, what keeps you still here?
First and foremost, my faith in the Lord keeps me here, because I tell people, God gave me the vision in 2008. You're going to get a one-way ticket, and it's either you're going to trust me or you're going to trust me. There was nothing else. So that's number one. Number two, and I'm glad you asked this. I thought about this a couple of days ago. What keeps me out here is that there are people that are waiting for me to inspire them. There are people that are waiting to be motivated by me. I remember being a kid back in my parents' house watching Michael Ealy. And I said, I want to do that. Well, he's in LA. Can I get from Baltimore to LA like Michael Ealy did? He looks kind of like me. He's a Black man. He's from the state of Maryland. He was one of my inspirations. So there's somebody, I always say, there's somebody in Ypsilanti, Michigan, who is waiting for us to create this content, or somebody that's in Lubbock, Texas, or somewhere in Bismarck that's waiting for us to inspire them and to motivate them for them to pursue and push their dreams forward, though. That's what keeps me here. As I created my new show, there were over, probably, my casting director says, over 1,000 submissions. Some of those individuals for this show that I've created are just so happy for the and that's that word, like you said, Tony, opportunity. Mm-hmm. Hey, maybe I'll get the job, maybe I won't get the job, but somebody's giving me an opportunity. So you know what that means? That means that their confidence, it goes up. Hey, maybe I can do this. Hey, maybe it's not so bad. Hey, I can do this. So for me, that's what keeps me here, though. Giving opportunities, creating content, creating a platform to showcase other individuals in whatever it may be. You know, someone may say, hey, you know, I auditioned for this role for his show. Okay, I didn't get it. But you know what, though? I'm going to keep going. Mm-hmm. I'm going to keep going because someone saw me and they gave me an opportunity. They gave me a chance. Right there, you know, it's really rewarding. And I'm gonna tell you a real quick story. There was a time, honestly, about 2 or 3 years ago, I'm not gonna lie, I second guessed myself. I was like, you know what, stuff not really going well for me, man. I don't know. And I'm not in the it crowd right now. I'm not getting these looks. And Tyler Perry and his casting director, Raven Drummond, they called me in for 6 shows.
I remember that.
6 shows. Now, I didn't book those shows, but it was something in me that they saw that they liked, though. And as I kept doing those eco casts, my confidence kept going up and up and up. And then I didn't have those doubts anymore. You know, so just because I got those opportunities, it further let me know, no, I do belong here.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody does see me, even if the masses out there don't know who I am. You know what I mean?
Well, you all belong here, whether they or not. And
I quit this industry every day.
Yeah, yo. It's rough, bro. It's rough, bro.
Every day I quit. Right before I logged on here, I quit. but you're right. Like with this industry, we want those opportunities, and we just want to be seen, and we want to be seen for the right reasons. I don't. And we talk about like connecting with people and networking in the industry, which is very important. I don't want to be someone that connects with someone and it's not genuine. I don't like being somewhere and being like, well, who are you? Who are you? What do you do? What do you do? Okay, I'm gonna spend more time with you than I am someone else. Because what I've also learned in this business is that you have no idea who you're talking to. You walk into the room and you're looking for the Aaron Sorkin, the Steven Spielberg, but then there's little Jessica Lowe that you're not paying attention to. And then within a year, Jessica Lowe is sitting at the table with the Steven Spielberg and the Aaron Sorkins because there was something about her that people saw and they brought her up. And who does she remember? Those people who genuinely had interest in her before she was who she was. And those are the people that she calls into the room. So I hate when people, they don't make genuine connections. It's all about, you're the it thing now, or, you're the person that I need to connect with. You can connect with the receptionist. The receptionist has goals and dreams too that maybe you don't know about. But if you disregard them, they remember you. I'll tell you this quick story. I used to work at Central Casting, which is the biggest background casting company in LA. And I'll never forget this. I worked in registration, and I had registered a guy that day. And then later that night, I went to like this industry party, and the guy was there. And he saw me. He came right up to me. He was like, hey, I remember you from earlier. And me and my little Southern self, who just loves everybody, I'm like, oh, yeah, that was me. How are you? We're talking. And he goes, well, what shows do you cast for? And I'm like, oh, no, I don't have any shows of my own. I'm an assistant. I don't have shows. He said, oh. And he left.
Wow.
He left. But you know what, though? I was the right person he was talking to. You know why? Because as the casting assistant, who did the casting director ask to pull pictures of the categories that they're looking for? And I remember I would come by his photo, and I would always remember that moment. And I'd be like, next.
Wow.
Careful.
Grande. Thank you, next.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you,
No,
next.
and I say this all the time. All you need is one pair of eyes. All you need is one ear hole to hear something that you do. And you never know what that ear hole is connected to, or those pair of eyes are connected to.
James, I thought you were about to give us Lady Gaga. If there are 100 people in the room, you only need one person to believe in you.
No, I've been saying before Lady Gaga. I've been saying this a long time. But it's true. It's so true though, because I've gotten opportunities and even outside this business, when I was doing other things, I remember you from that store. You used to do merchandising. Oh, I heard you were great. Like, you smiled at me and said hi. And you're right. And we go, well, I got a new venture over here that pays this much money. I'm like, bye. And I'm next stage left to them. And I followed them around, whatever. Like and Brandon knows this, and Tony knows this. There's people in the industry in our soap world who will always answer my phone calls. Will always, Tony has it too. Will always say kind things about me when I'm not even around, and who will always support what I do. And it's because I'm actually genuine to them. I don't just schmooze with them. We actually, some of us become friends. And and my little quick story is Michelle Stafford, who you guys both know, of course, Brandon and Tony know. We become really good friends. Sean Kanan, we become really good friends. We're actually friends. During the pandemic, they checked on me during the pandemic to see how I was doing. Not do you have a show tomorrow? It was just like, how are you doing? What's going on? Blah, blah. I've been to both their houses. I know their kid. I know her kids. I know his wife. Like, we're friends. But when something big happens, they come to me and say, Michelle Stafford gave me the exclusive when she left Young and the Restless to go back to General House, go back to Young and the Restless. Not so Lower Digest. She came to me first and said, no, you have it. And she said on camera, you take care of your homies. You always take care of us. You support our outside businesses. Tony knows this too. They're an outside business. I know Flobo does also on his show. You have an outside, you have some gigs going. Tell the gigs. Tell everybody. Fucking tell. And you know me, I will promote the fuck out of everything. I have no shame.
He's gonna promote himself first.
Well, yeah.
No, I need to be more like James Lott Jr. and tweet everybody's ish, because I get lax. Like, I do a podcast and I'm like, it's almost like, I don't know, foreplay, right? And you're like, oh, you really, and then you just like, once it's done, you just kind of fall asleep. That's literally what I do after every podcast. So,
but it's funny. No, but it's funny. People actually tell me thank you all the time. I go, I just do it because you're supposed to do that. To me, you're supposed to support your friends.
Agreed.
When they have something out. But apparently, it's a rare thing. Apparently, and Flobo, I want to ask you a question about that, because how, in the age of numbers, because Tony brought up numbers earlier, in the age of numbers, how do you stay motivated? And because I know you have some big numbers on some shows don't have big. We all have them. Some I look at shows that get 20 views sometimes. I'm like, what? 20 views? How do you stay motivated? How do you stay motivated?
It's all relative. Like, I have multiple outlets in that case, so I can look at shows and say, hey, look, I may be less press Sabrina's back. Like, I have a Star Trek show. It's been consistent. It's been the same number of views, but the views have been like 20. And so I think growth is more important than the actual numbers, because you can always have a ceiling. Like, again, What's Up Flobo's, the classic versions, we're getting like 3 views, 4 views. Now it's like 12, 15, which is still like pretty paltry. But to me, that says there's a consistent audience checking them out. The worst thing is to realize is the growth. Like, okay, so for example, we think about your stock portfolios, right? We think about making money now with cryptocurrency. You can go to the moon. But if you have a stock market portfolio that grows at 3%, people say that's good. 8%, they're like, oh my gosh, you beat the street. You know what I mean? We get so wrapped up in like tens of thousands, 50,000, 20 billion thousands. You're not really in that one. Sometimes people like certain things that have been shared by promotions, white hat or like black hat, kind of like goosing the numbers kind of way. And also, you don't want to put yourself on your views, because if you make a piece of content and it goes viral, is that who you are? If you do your best work, I'm just saying, if you do your best work and no one sees it, are you a failure? Like, don't do that, because you're going to lose every time. So I've been making content for the longest time, I guess, since 2001, but digitally from the past year and a half. I was on LiveJournal. That's how old I've been doing this.
Wow.
You know, remember that Zanga and stuff?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's more important to track your growth, find out what you consider success, write it down, and every year or so look at that and go, okay, I hit those. If you start looking for views and downloads, you're always going to be mad. You're always going to be upset. You're always feel like you're failing.
I want to comment on what he was saying. That is a great statement. And nothing against views and, all that kind of stuff. But I think sometimes we get caught up in this social media world, and some of us, and I've been guilty of it too. Sometimes we lose a little sense of reality sometimes. And we do that comparison thing, even when we don't think we're doing it. Well, about probably a year ago, I saw a photo of Sinatra, Dean Martin. I saw a photo of the Rat Pack. And I said, well, they all got talent up there. And they didn't have no social media back then. Mm-hmm. And Paul Newman didn't have no social media. And Sidney Poitier didn't have no social media. And I said, I feel, and I've been guilty. Sometimes we get so caught up in the social media world. We've all been guilty. We put up a post. If we don't think it garners the number of likes that we like, sometimes we do what? We take it down. Anybody say they ain't done it is a lie. I've done it. So it's one of those, I got to check myself. My talent does not reflect this social media thing. It doesn't always reflect the numbers and followers. There are some casting directors out there, and Tony and James, you may know this. For some auditions in some castings, it'll say, and this is, I feel this is just Totally disrespectful. Do not, agents, managers, or talent, do not submit to this job if you have less than 150,000 followers.
I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it.
You don't see it often, but it's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got some of these production companies, some of these networks, they want to look at your numbers. Oh, does Flobo have 3.2 million followers? Oh, he does. We'll bring him in now. Well, Flobo's 3.2 million followers might not be as good as somebody. His talent might not be as good as somebody that might have 2 followers, though.
Engagement matters.
Engagement, right? You're right.
Numbers are nothing.
An example.
I'm saying numbers are nothing. I'm with you, Brian. I'm going. Engagement matters. You can have 3.2 million followers and you get 3 likes on every picture. There's something wrong with that story.
Yeah.
You could have 1,000 followers and 50, 60 likes per picture. That's engagement. So I'm with you, Brian, on that one. But you need to fuck the numbers. Fuck the numbers. And I also want to bring up something for Tony and I and Brandon, because we've each been in situations of this happening. You have something successful and someone else has something similar. And it takes an idea similar. You've been through it, I've been through it, and I don't know if you two have been through it, but I know that Tony and I and Brandon have all been through it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a tough one too.
Yes.
And we know it's a tough one because, again, that's a discouraging thing. You came with this idea first, executed it, whatever, and then someone comes along and then they have bigger success than that.
Yeah.
So when I mentioned earlier about sending the email to the publicist and then seeing another show that's similar to mine have those guests, there's a show. First of all, he's a wonderful guy. We know each other. His show is great. But his show's called A Spoonful Apollo. And I remember meeting him briefly when he lived in LA. And if my memory serves me correctly, before he started doing his show, he came across my show and pulled inspiration from my first show, Lounging with Tony. And we were basically, doing the same thing. We were these very high energy, type hosts who loved pop culture and entertainment and basically going after the same guests. He would get the guests a lot and I would not. He doesn't know this, but I would see, I went after that person a few months ago and he got them. And it hurt me because I felt like, well, then what's wrong with me? What's wrong with my show? Why aren't the publicists seeing the same thing that they see in him, that they see in me? And it takes a while to fight through that. It takes a while to look at yourself and go, not everything is meant for you. And if it's not, you take that no, you say thank you, and then you just move on to the next person. It doesn't mean that you're not as talented, your show is not as great. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that that person can't see what other people see, or what the next publicist will see, or who the next, star will see. So you kind of have to continue to believe in yourself and believe in your product, so that way you can continue on doing great things. So, and not worry about numbers, because numbers are very discouraging too. Mm-hmm. I remember last year when I was doing my IG live show, Tell Me More with Tony Moore, I was doing the I would do talk about shows that I had watched the week before. And I prepared a lot for that show. I would jot down all the shows that I had watched and which ones that people would want to talk about. I would pull pictures and stuff, and I would sit my ring light in front of my TV that I couldn't figure out how to invert the pictures so that they came up right, on the TV, so they came the other way. I would do all this stuff and I would try to be engaging and tell people, come, let's talk about it. I know you watched Insecure. I know you watched, RuPaul's Drag Race. Let's come talk about it, And I remember I did all this work and there were 5 people on that live. And I remember this day. I remember finishing my show for those people who showed up, and I hit end and I sat in the corner of my couch and I sulked for a week. Because I felt like people didn't care about what I was doing. And in that moment, I thought about it and I reminded myself, you like what you do. You put in that much work because you enjoy what you do. And if only 2 people show up, then you give the best show ever for those 2 people. And if next week 4 people show up, then you give the best show for those 4 people. And at some point, people are going to catch on. You know, I know my lane. I know I'm not the thirst trap. I know I'm not the sexiest one. You don't see my cheeks, you know, on any social media or anything like that. I don't do things to not these cheeks.
Oh,
I don't do things to like to garnish
selfie Instagrams.
Yeah, I don't do things so that people do to garnish the views, because I know my value. I know my worth, and I know that my worth is not having thousands of people like my thoughty photo in order for me to say, here's my ass cheek, also watch my show. You know what I mean? Like that's I don't need to do that. I know my lane, but some people do, and it works for them.
We all can have bodies like Brandon, who's like built like a football player. I mean, you know, we cannot be built like that. I mean, those days are over for me. I mean, I'm just trying to settle comfortably into my golden age. I know I look good from the face up. I know I'm good there. I'm good there, and that's all I show on. That's all I show on social media. I just show my face. That's how I go from here. I'm like, this looks good, right?
Not the snaps, Flobo.
I'm saying, he filmed himself. He filmed himself.
This is 52 years old, people. I look pretty good for 52. I really do.
I agree.
I'm hanging in there. Now, from the neck down, it's a whole new story.
No, you look great for 354.
Thank you.
Jesus.
I know.
That's.
He knows he looked good. All that weight he lost, he knows he looked good. I told him 2 years ago he dropped a whole 5th grader in weight. He knows
last year.
A whole 5th grader.
He knows he looked good.
We're just not like you, Brandon. But the thing is, I've never like Tony. I always tried to push my talents, and not so much the trappings. I mean, that's the thing. And I feel like so people, and again, I find out people think about me later. I hear things later like, "Oh, James, you're always doing something." I never know what people think. You know me. I'm just push content out. I want to see the next thing. Whatever happens. And so I hear things later in conversation. And I'm glad they can say they're talking about my content. They're talking about, yeah, you look hot yesterday, in that photo. And there's not that. I've never did that. I've never been. People do it, fine for them, whatever. But beauty fades. I mean, it really does. And
eventually, someone is going to see that talent. Exactly. Viola Davis speaks on this all the time, because of her physical appearance early in her career. She wasn't getting looked at. I mean, she wasn't even getting considered. Now look at her though.
Yeah.
Someone saw that talent in that Black woman. Now she's getting ready to play Michelle Obama in the docuseries. You know what I'm saying? So eventually somebody's going to see that talent. Okay, you got 2 views today, you got 14 views tomorrow. Okay, big deal. Someone eventually is going to see that talent. Hey, I see Tony. Hey, I see. Hey, something about this kid I like. He's got something there. What do you mean he's got something there? Well, I see something. And then all of a sudden, you're a household name.
Yeah. I want to ask each of you, all 4 of you, each of you, and for Brandon, for you, it'll be an acting, or whatever, or producing. Is there one person you always wanted to interview or work with that you got a chance to do so? And there's others we're still looking for, but I mean, in the past, like which one? For me, of course, it's Christian Alfonso. That's our lives. Get to interview her. But for each of you, and he made it happen. He did make it happen. But for each of you, it could have been a chance meeting. It could have been somebody, and I think I may know Brandon's. I may know one of Brandon's. But I'm curious to each of you guys. I'll start with you, Flobo. Was there someone you got a chance to interview that you just like, oh, I've always wanted to interview them? It was really great.
Yeah, this actually happened like 2 weeks ago. My favorite professional wrestler of all time, the real deal, D'Lo Brown, and I had an interview for the hashtag. For those of you who don't follow professional wrestling from back in the 90s, D'Lo was a brother that looked like me. He was a little chunky. He had a good move set with top rope stuff, technical wrestling stuff, submission stuff, and he wore a chest plate. And as a man that had to wear a t-shirt to the pool, I can respect that. So to be able to sit there and talk to him, I actually have his action figure on the other side of the room. it was granted it was for like a impact pay-per-view, so it has a bit of rails of what I could talk about in the interview. But the fact I got to share some space with someone that kind of influenced me as a kid was amazing.
That's really cool. Yeah. BrandonLarkins, what about you?
I got two. One, Christophe St. John.
Yes, our buddy.
Absolutely. Definitely wanted to work with Christophe St. John. He was someone that inspired me and actually kept me watching the soaps. The other person would be Morris Chestnut. I saw Morris Chestnut in 1999 as the best man, and he is somebody that was up on that silver screen that I could identify with. And I said, I want to do that with my career. I want to do that with my career. And I've always, liked his persona and the way he's always carried himself, man. Family man, husband, father. You don't hear nothing stupid going on with him. You know what I mean? So I've always wanted to work with him.
Well, who have you met? Who have you met that you've admired?
Oh, who have I met that I've admired? Oh, I'm gonna go back to Christophe St. John.
I think it was Christophe.
I'm gonna go to Christophe St. John. When I met Christophe, man, I let him know. I said, bro, I've been following you since 1985's Charlie and Company when you played the son of Flip Wilson and Gladys Knight, bro. And he looked at me like, wow.
You took it back.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say Christophe. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Christophe. I knew Christophe too. May he rest in peace. He was great. Tony Moore, for you.
3 come to mind. Okay. The first one was when I was doing Lounging with Tony. I took a chance and I Facebook messaged Jaquel Knight, who is the choreographer of Beyonce's Single Ladies and has done choreography for Beyonce. And he agreed to do my show, Lounging with Tony. We sat on a stoop at an apartment building that I did not stay in North Hollywood. We did the interview. He showed me some dance moves. And I felt so privileged to have him on my show, It's also the interview that I wish had gone differently on my end as a host, but that's a whole nother story. The next one was Raven Simone. Raven used to come to the drag show that I hosted at Mickey's, and she came 4 weeks in a row. And 1 week she brought Christina Milian.
Oh, wow.
And on that 4th week, I worked up the courage to ask her if she would do my show. She said, yeah, absolutely. We exchanged numbers. And then I was like, oh God, I don't think it's going to happen. So I remember texting her and she said, yeah, let me get you in touch with my people. And 2 seconds later, I had an email from her publicist, setting everything up. That also put my faith back into someone of her status to not only say yes, but to follow through and then make sure that her people made it happen. And it's one of my favorite interviews because it solidified my hosting style and my show. And then the last person I interviewed during More Please was Lonnie Love.
Oh yeah.
I've been a huge fan of The Real since the summer preview. And I always had them down as people that I wanted to interview. I wanted to interview them as a group, but the group has changed over the years. But when Lonnie and I connected, and I, again, took a chance, I slid in those DMs and I said, Lonnie, I would love for you to come and do my show. And she said yes. And her publicist got in touch with me. We scheduled it. And when she came on the show, she was like, I heard you was doing the show. I said, I got to do Tony's show. And we had the best time. But, she also, they've also made me feel really good as well, because, she appreciates, the fact that, I've been around The Real for so long. Like, you can see me in the audience throughout different seasons of the show. And they always pointed me out. And with that, there's another little moment of, I saw them at the Daytime Emmys the year that they won their Emmy. And Tamara, Mary Housley, she saw me. She always saw me at the Real. And she was like, I've been looking at some of your stuff. You're doing a great job. It looks good. Keep it up. And I was like, I never knew that she even saw any of my stuff. So that goes back to, you never know who's watching. So those 2 people, those 100 people that are watching, you never know who's watching from afar. So you got to keep doing what you're doing. But yeah, those are my 3 that I wanted to interview. I did interview, and those were amazing interviews that I had with them.
Before I have you answer, Adam, I just want to tell really quickly, I had 2 people I got a chance to talk to that I was very happy interview-wise. And one is Dr. Steve Perry. I was a fan of his from Save Our Sons on BET, a huge fan. And when he finally came on my show, which was In Between the Pages with James Lott Jr., which was the show, he told me specifically on air certain episodes that I had done, how much he admired my work. And I literally almost cried like a goddamn baby. I was like, I've admired you and what the work you do for, for Black boys and for Black and young Black men. I was so just floored, like Tony, like you watch what you like. He was actually quoting things I said. I'm like, well, you know what I said. I mean, like I was so shocked. And I became part of this weird circle up there, the Baltimore, Wisconsin, DC group. And when Sean Diddy Combs said my name on a show, I literally.
When that happened?
I interviewed, so there's these schools, these charter schools they have back there in New York, the Harlem Charter Schools in New York. And Diddy is part of it. He's part of one of the co-owners. And I interviewed their principal, Danita, and she was on my show, on this show. And we had a great time, and he heard the interview and he watched it, and on his show, I forgot what show he was doing, and he mentioned, he had a great guy, James Lott Jr., interviewed my principal. I'm like, he just said my name, like what the, and my friends are like, P. Diddy said your name. I'm like, I mean, P. Diddy and I are the same age. I mean, but I watched him from the very beginning. I mean, I was there from the very beginning. The fact that his name, my name came out of his mouth from one of my interviews, like it was something good. That's what got me.
You got this whole secret life that I don't know about.
I got
that story too. Did he not tell you this one also?
I didn't know about that.
You knew about that one, Brandon.
I didn't know about that one.
We
talk every day. We talk every day, and not one of these days we have spilled all kinds of tea with each other, and not now time has he told me that not only has he had guest starring roles on popular TV shows, but now he's sitting here talking about that Diddy done said his name.
I will say
the audacity.
It does trip me out that you're right. Diddy would have to be the same age as you are. It feels like 2 different eras.
It is. We're the same age. We're the same age. And one other thing I just want to, other guest, my friend Dr. Eric Sherry, who's a professor at UCLA, wrote these books on the periodic table. And so I interviewed him at Book Circle Online, actually the first time. Then later we became friends, other stuff together. Our interviews are actually featured in the science department websites and in their departments talked about online. And I thought, I'm in academia. Like this was something totally different than anything else. And I'm like, that made me so like, it was a whole different level of like, that's great. But they thought my interview was that good. The professors of science they wanted me to speak to their school with Dr. Eric Sherry and talk about our experience. They liked our dynamic. And I was floored. I mean, again, you don't know who you talk to. You don't know where it's going to lead you. You have no idea. So it was kind of a crazy thing. And I know what Brandon's saying right now. Embrace your celebrity. I know Brandon. Adam K. Woods. Who is somebody, you interview 10,000 people. Who is somebody that you are very happy to finally interview?
So funny, the introductions happened at the same place, that place being the Burbank Marriott and Convention Center in Burbank, California. And the first one it's kind of short. So as a kid who grew up in Inglewood for the most part from 95 on, right? I was a weird one, right? I love like punk rock and Incubus and Guns N' Roses. So one of my friends who actually was in the Way Back, the movie with Ben Affleck, he actually was the first licensed professional debut, the oldest licensed professional MMA fighter. He made his MMA debut at 51, that being Chris Bruno. Well, he's kind of well connected in Hollywood, and a couple people that came to see him, one being former Guns N' Roses member, Gilby Clarke. And why Gilby Clarke stands out to me is because he's from Indiana. My dad is from Indiana. So like, and my dad was a musician as well. So like, that was cool. So, unfortunately, Chris Bruno got his tail whooped by my friend, Mark Matsumoto. So it was like a friend's kind of quarrel. But after they were in this like circle congratulating Chris, I was like, oh my gosh, like you're Gilby Clarke, what have you? And it's like, yeah, I am. And it's like, yeah, dude, like I just love your songwriting and all this stuff, Rockstar in excess, whatever. And it's like, do you mind if we like cut a promo or what have you? It's like, yeah. So it's me and Gilby Clarke basically talking about the MMA show that I was working for. And it was just awesome. And then there was like I guess I might have three. So I basically had an instance where I went to what is it, a PCW Ultra show. I forgot where it is, but like San Pedro-ish or what have you, Wilmington. And Kevin Sullivan, the Taskmaster, who was like the foil to Hulk Hogan when I was growing up, and like his kind of deal in Florida, he was like the evil, like almost devil worshiping guy and whatever. But I just kind of saw him like out of line, and I was just a fan and whatever. And I was like, hey, would you want to like cut a promo with me? And I cut a promo with the Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan, and it was just like I just geeked the hell out. Now the following day was Bellator at the Forum, which meant a lot to me as well, because when I was growing up and liking this cage fighting thing, people were like, nah, that'll never work. It would, it wasn't even legal around that time, right? It was still like smokers in people's backyards and gyms and what have you, right? Yeah. So the fact that the second biggest MMA promotion is basically sold out at the arena that was like literally less than a mile from my high school, and I had my high school commencement ceremony, and I'm playing here. I had friends on the card and what have you, but I got invited to the Forum Club, which was awesome. And there was Brooke Hogan, which funny enough, right? So cut a promo with Kevin Sullivan, the guy who tried to end Hulkamania in WCW, and then the daughter of Hulkamania the next night. And it was all both MMA and pro wrestling. So there's that. And then the third, and it's weird to even call him a friend, but like the War Master Josh Barnett, arguably the most decorated heavyweight mixed martial artist of all time. He's done bare knuckle. He's won IWGP in Japan championships, UFC championships, all this, whatever. So it happened, the first time I met him, it was at Burbank Marriott Convention Center. I see him and I'm just like, oh, gobsmacked. But I was just like, I got to say something, right? This is like catch wrestling, like right there in front of me, like history and everything. So I asked him like, hey, like, what was it like to be trained by Antonio Inoki and Billy Robinson? And he was just like, and there was a pause that I felt like forever. And he's like 6'4", 6'6". I'm 5'9". And I was like, oh no, the War Master is pissed at me. He's gonna eat me. and he looks at me and he goes, no one has ever asked me that, and throws his arm around me. We take the picture and whatever. So after that, he was cool, but I kind of had like a start-stop relationship with him, right? Like one time I'd meet him, he'd be cool. Then he wouldn't know me from, I guess, Adam, right? And it wasn't until I actually interviewed like some of his students, because he teaches MMA fighters and pro wrestlers like Shayna Baszler, who's currently with the WWE. And I was just, that's where we kind of broke bread, and it was intimidating as hell. It was the old UFC gym in La Mirada, and there was glass windows, right? And these guys and gals were grappling so much that it fogged all the windows up, floor to ceiling windows, whatever. That's how hard that they were getting on it, just like unceremoniously twisting each other into pretzels, right? And then I'm like, okay, the interview's at 12. It's 11:58. I've got 4 of his students and whatever. And then nothing. And then right at 12, the door opens, and out of the bellowing, smelly, dingy smoke and sweat was the War Master. And I was like, I'm kind of interviewing these, whatever. And it's like, go, right? So I go to the corner of the room and I damn near slipped and whatever, because again, sweat all over the place. They had just done a 90-minute grappling session, fight camp ready and everything like that. But I could, as I was hey, doing the interviews with the students, I could feel him just watching me like a hawk. Like these were his children. He doesn't have biological children, but his MMA children, that's it. And I was just whatever. Well, they talked good of me to him, and ever since, he's been cool. He did my podcast that, again, just started in July, realistically. A month after he had done Rogan's and got 6 million views, literally a month of the day. So, and then he sent me people from, and the podcast, we just talked about wrestling. We didn't talk about his career or anything. We just talk about wrestling, pro wrestling. And we're two dudes that just like the thing. Right. And after that, he had his Josh Barnett's Bloodsport, kind of hybrid MMA pro wrestling deal. He was like, hey, who do you want to interview? And literally is DMing former WWE superstars and whatever to hit me up at the behest of the War Master. So that would be the one.
Wow.
Oh, damn, man. You went to the kingdom and made peace.
I know.
Woo!
Okay. So Adam, I want to ask on a side note. We went to the same high school at different times.
Yeah.
Oh, we know it was at different times.
2 years ahead of me.
Because you old, right? Yeah.
2 years ahead of me.
So I was going to ask you a side. I was going to ignore Tony now for a second. I'll ask you a side note. Where did you guys graduate?
We graduated. We were the only graduating class from Inglewood to graduate at the Forum, because if you remember, after the Great Western Bank went bankrupt, well, Faithful Central, the mega church in Inglewood, they basically took the Forum, right? And at a time where they weren't really doing anything secular, right? So no concerts and everything. It was just their church services and whatever community action events and what have you. So we are the class of 2003 that had people like Lawrence Jackson, who went on to set all types of records at USC for football, and then went up playing in the Seahawks and the Detroit Lions, right? And then D Smoke, who, yeah. So that was my graduating class, which that's another thing. Oh my gosh, I'm probably the least known of. I don't even have a graduation picture of that deal, but the reason why we graduated there is because, again, they needed a use for the Forum and what have you, and we just got it that year. After that, nothing else, in terms of graduations happened at the Forum. And then I found out that that was actually the reason why Prince did those run of shows of 2 weeks.
I saw him. Yeah, I saw him.
He basically donated everything because they were in the red. They were so
Prince did a thing called 21. He did Welcome to America or whatever.
Right.
And it was 8 or 9 weekends. It was Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
He came every weekend and played at the Forum. I went to several of those concerts. It was tickets were $25 for everybody at the Forum. He tried it, and it worked. That's go Prince. It worked. Well, I was asking because, and I graduated in 1987, and we graduated at El Camino College.
Wow.
We didn't go to the Forum. It was El Camino. That's what you said, the Forum. You guys graduated at the Forum.
Yeah, we didn't go far either. And like I said,
look, El Camino College is in Torrance. It's not that. It's not far, but it's not that close either.
Well, it's funny because I said you graduated a couple of years earlier than I, but apparently you graduated when I was only a couple of years old.
Yes, exactly. I graduated in 87.
We all were just a couple of years old.
Bo was he wasn't even born yet. Okay, so yeah, Okay, so I want to ask each of you.
Adam and I are the same age, I think. So I don't know why.
But you and him the same age? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do when you're in a situation, and this we've ran into a situation where either the interview isn't going well or your scene partner isn't going well? What is one thing that you try to do to get through it? I'm not asking for tea, what actually happened, don't name any names or anything, but it's kind of curious, how do you work through that? I've had it happen to me too before also. I'm just kind of curious how I've had a guest who just shut down or one word answers or things like that. I've had an actor in a scene who just wasn't giving me nothing. I was wondering for each of you, just wondering, like, how do you get through it? So I'll start with you, Brandon. Actually, how do you get through it if your partner is not giving you something? That scene.
Wow, that's a tough question, man. You know what? First and foremost, though, you have to get past that frustration. Gosh, that's tough.
That is tough.
You got to forget the dialogue. You got to get past that frustration, man. And once you do, and you don't have long to get past that frustration too, because you're in the scene.
Yes.
You know, I don't know. I think in the past, maybe I've tried to make a little facial gesture to the partner, or like, I don't know. That's tough. I don't know.
Flobito.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm a little bit different because like my interviews are on live shows. Usually when I have that situation, I have the benefit or the detriment of the clock, right? So you know how much space you have to fill. And that could be intimidating if sometimes they'd be stiff or they're not used to being it. Sometimes they have guests that are like under the weather, you know. One thing is you can go into that, it's over prepare. My questions, I do write notes before my shows, and I think to me the cool part about that or the challenge is making it sound like it's a natural conversation. But like I do write for that reason, especially after hours. For those who don't know, I have a 10 p.m. streaming show on Mondays. 10 p.m. is late for anyone, especially in the West Coast. Sometimes people have all right, that's my answer. And you're like, good, you know? So I have backup questions. 1. 2, be mindful of the clock. 3, realize appeal to them as a human being. If you're at a party and your prepared questions of favorite TV shows aren't working, just say, hey, look, what have you done today? What are you planning on doing? What's something you like to do? What's your dream? And just put their credit to the side as actress or comedian or author and as a person, because people have certain things. Everyone collects something. Everyone has dreams. Everyone has a bucket list or something they want to do. So that's always my go-to. And be like, okay, what is something that makes you happy? And if you go that direction and it lights you up and it may be boring as hell to me because I don't collect stamps, but make sure the show is dope, that's fine. Because I think forgetting the subject, what's more important is that people who are listening feel like we're in a heated discussion. That to me is the entertainment value.
I've been to shows early. So Tony, so what do you do to get through it? Go ahead. I've been to shows early a couple of times. They just were not giving me nothing. I was like, okay, and thank you for coming off of the show, and then tell me where you can find you. And that was it. I was like, no,
there's always that too. Yeah, sure.
No, Flobo sounds good. No, yours sounds really great. Now I wish I could do more like you. I'm just like, yeah, fuck it, I got the shows. Tell me more. How? Because we've been through it a couple of times with people. I mean, how do you handle it?
I let my shining personality come through.
And how does that work?
Sometimes you just and I was sitting here trying to think if there was anyone that I was just like, oof, this isn't going well at all. But I think sometimes you have to push through. You have to keep smiling. You have to keep having personality about it. And, I think, there's that, like there's how you are on a regular basis, right? Then when you host, you turn it up a notch, or when you're an actor, you turn that personality up a lot. But then when you know that you're not getting what you need, you have to turn it all the way up.
Yeah.
And you have to turn the decimal up just a little bit more, just to kind of continue to make yourself look good and make them look good. Because even though they're not given a lot, you still, as a host, you still have to make them look great.
That's true.
Good answer.
Yeah. So I just turn up the personality. I try to throw in a few jokes. I try to make them laugh a little bit. Sometimes you just get through all your questions and you say, my God, that was so fun. Thank you so much. And then you just kind of move on,
That's what we're doing. End the show.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming in. And Mr. According to Woods, have you ever come across, I mean, I say you do 10,000 shows. You ever come across that where someone's just not talking?
Yeah, it's happened. It's happened. Or some weirdness where like, oh, somebody will like admit they took cocaine before a title fight and whatever, or it's wild. Like a lot of fighters, right? And this is a wild woolly thing. But I usually go with self-deprecating. There was a time I actually confused the deprecating and defecating. I thought it was self-defecating, like someone shits on themselves, but apparently that's not the thing. But yeah, usually I'll tell an anecdote or whatever to kind of just like, I can almost tell like the facade is there, like the embryonic fluid is there, and I just have to pierce that damn thing, and we're like, oh, and even if it's like, I don't know, I'm a idiotically brilliant, right? Like this, I'm smart at like really dumb shit, right? So if it's a like pushing, my friend who's mooning, the crowd that was going across our provider, and I threw him in a shopping cart, and as he's mooning, I said, fuck it, threw it, started running the other way, left him there, and he's running whatever. That gets him out of it. Or shooting bottle rockets out my ass. Like, I don't fucking know. I just do it. And then I like whatever the wall is, I'm gonna break the wall. And also I want you to feel comfortable. That's what like that 10 minutes before we go live or whatever. You can get a feel of me. I can get a feel of you. I always ask people to send me the picture, right? I can do the graphics and everything. Actually, no, I can't. I'm not that talented. But with that all being said, I basically get the photo from them because they are, that is the tell. They're telling me how they see themselves, right? And how they want to be portrayed. So with that being said, if it's a more serious, picture, then they're all about that seriousness, and it's a straightforward, straight shooting interview, right? And if it's just like them, like whatever, or an ass selfie Instagram, I know I'm gonna get hate with my fucking wife, but then I post it and whatever, and then but just to make everyone feel like comfortable, and I try not to make it like sexually or whatever, because it's weird, like being objectified. Like I think everyone here has had like a preconceived notion bestowed upon them unjustifiably, right? So like that's one thing. I don't want to make it weird, right? And even the act of sliding into somebody's DMs, it's like, ooh, that can get a negative connotation. So I always try to be respectful, and it's been fun because a lot of like the female wrestlers or whatever, their boyfriends or husbands are in the business, so that's a layup. And I got my next guest because I'm interviewing their husband the next week. Like, it's great.
That happened to me with Devin Vasquez and Ron Moss. He came. I was like, "You'll come on my show," and he was in Player, Baby Come Back. That was he was, and he was also Ridge on Bold and Beautiful all those years. But I interviewed her because of her Prince book, and I was like, "Ron, can you come on my show next 2 weeks?" He goes, "Sure," and I did. I got him too. I mean, I got them both. It was kind of weird, like you said, was like he's the husband of her, so it kind of worked out. They do everything together, so it's kind of a lot of fun. As we wrap this up, I want to thank you guys for your time, of course, for coming on. All four of you are people that I admire, and I like very much.
Thank you.
So thank you for your hard work, because I know it's.
Are you giving out cookies?
I'm giving you your flowers, Tony, while you're alive.
Can I have cookies instead?
No cookies. I'm gonna die. No cookies.
I mean, that's what Tony wanted. You probably.
And when you mean cookies, I mean, is that the ass selfie Instagram post with the
not those cookies? I mean chocolate chip, oatmeal raisin.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Physical cookies.
Like I was like, I never got the ass selfie.
James out here is in a different eating class these days. We're not doing that right now.
Eating class, you peasants.
Yes, eating class this day. Except when I go to Vegas in a few weeks, I'm going to be eating whatever I want. But each of you I admire very much. You guys are strong Black men, which I very am proud of to know you guys, because there are a lot of strong Black men who don't even do what we get to do. We're very blessed, who want to do it. If you want to do it and you're watching this, you come across the show, these are 4 shining examples of folks who are going out there and doing it. I mean, they really are doing it. And it's hard work. It's discouraging work. This business is crazy as F. But I wouldn't be anywhere else. And these are my friends also. So I appreciate each of you very much.
Well,
you.
listen,
Congratulations
James
on 3 years.
3
Yes.
years.
3
Congratulations.
years.
Now, James Lott Jr., you know, we have had conversations where I tell you, you are always doing the most. But one of our mottos is that, you know, just do it. If you think of it, just do it. So congratulations to you for always continuing to just do it. And always putting yourself out there, always taking an idea and running with it and giving it 110%. You know, you may feel like you haven't been doing this, you know, for a while or that you just got in the game, but you're excelling in it. So, and you're an inspiration to others and especially people in your age bracket.
Ooh, I knew there was.
Oh, look at him sniffing the teeth.
It's for the old guys, like my award last. It's for the old guys. It is. But thank you. But each of you are fantastic. So I guess we'll start with Adam, my fellow Inglewoodian. Go ahead and promote the fuck out of yourself.
Yo, According to Woods on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And you can also find me on the gram of instant gratification and the the book of faces, right, of the same name. And you're going to probably see the podcast and dumb shit dad memes because that's what I do. And
yes, you do that. Yes.
And here's the deal. You guys want to know the secret, right? I'll post a meme and see who comments. That is the next guess. If I see a verified check mark, I'm going after you. Hogan, I'm coming from you. Never mind that part.
We come for you.
Yes, but According to Woods across everything.
That is pretty smart. I can't knock it anymore.
That's pretty smart, actually. That's very smart. Brandon Larkins, where can they find you?
I can be found on all platforms. Everything is at BrandonLarkins.com. Instagram.
Charmland
Entertainment. Thank you. I forgot about my company, Charmland Entertainment. Everything is at BrandonLarkins.com. You'll see everything there. Follow me there.
Are you from Bmore or what?
Yep. Born and raised, Baltimore, Maryland.
There you go. There you go.
And me?
Yes. He's doing great things. Stay tuned. Don't sleep on him, folks. He's doing some stuff. Flobito, tell him what you're doing for all your stuff, please.
I mean, how long is this show's gonna be, man?
You know how I do, so go ahead and do it.
All right, I'm gonna do the longest promotion ever because it's one of your shows. Listen, if you want to book me in the Southern California area to be a MC, a DJ, a motivational speaker for those, especially for people in the world of bullying, cyberbullying, and weight loss, flobito.com. That's FLOBITO.com. I'm the host currently of 8 content shows on the space. We're talking book shows about Star Trek, wrestling, late night comedy, and of course, our culture show, New Amsterdam Radio. Learn more about that at newamsterdam.com. KNEW Amsterdam.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Flobo Boyce. Personally, at @new_Amsterdam for all the things under the content umbrella. And if you're into esports and into combat sports commentating, I do that too. Hit me up at NovantaRL. That is NOVANTARL. If you want me to commentate your next boxing match, your next video game match, also Rocket League is the thing I'm into. But beyond all of that, you can follow my books over at Amazon.com under Flobo Boyce. I have 3 short story collections, 2 novellas, and 1 self-help book on the way.
He is James Lott Jr. I love it.
Yes, he is.
I love it.
Good.
Makes me happy.
Ms.
Moore, tell them where they can find you.
Well, you can find Little Old Chocolate Me on all social media platforms at Lounging with Tony. You can also see me serving up a full dish of the week's episodes of Days of Our Lives on my podcast, Dish and Days, which can be found on our YouTube channel. You can also follow that show on all social media platforms. We are Dish and Days Show on Facebook, Dish and Days on Instagram, and _Dish and Days on the Twitter and YouTube. Make sure you go subscribe there. A lot of my shows are on hiatus right now, but if you follow me on social media, you'll see when they come back up. I will hopefully start doing my web show again, More Please, and also my Tony and Friends live Instagram, where I just chit chat with any and everyone about any and everything. And actually, Flobito is my tech director for More Please, a web show where I talk about pulp culture. I interview and talk with people involved in pulp culture and the entertainment industry, and I give you my thoughts and my take on all the latest hot topics. I think that is the longest time I have ever promoted myself, because I was like, after Flobito and then soon to come James Lott Jr., I'm gonna make sure I get mine too.
So go ahead, do your thing, man.
That's right. I love it. Okay, it's my turn, folks.
Ooh, okay. Well, before James go, bye, y'all. I'm gonna pull the Nene Leaks. I'm just gonna go ahead and go out this.
Wow.
I say James Lott Jr. be like a Mexican luchador and get your shit in, kid.
Get my shit in.
Okay, so this is first one. Let's do this because this was a book and kind of conservation show. So I released my 40th book. It's called the Forever and a Day Magnifier Book 2. It's out now. Next month, my 41st book is coming out, and that's Claws the Series, the book. So those will be out. And so go there and check out all my books on Amazon.com. They're all out there for you to peruse. All my music. I have 2 albums coming out soon. My 7th and 8th albums are coming out. It is my anniversary. 5 years ago this month, on my birthday, I released my first song, I Am Ready. We just did a remix. Yes?
That's the jam right there, bro.
I know. We just did a remix with Flobo Boyce, Mike Brown, Ryan M. Shaw, and Cesar Espino. We did a remix of that song. It'll be out on my birthday on Sunday, on Monday. That's my song, and that gave me the.
I am ready.
At 46 years old, I started my own kind of music, and I didn't have a whole career. All my music's everywhere. It's great. Or go to SoundCloud, James Lott Jr. for the music. And then I have audio drama.
Almost there.
Oh, that's your song too, like the song too. Yes, I have 7 albums out, kid. And then all my audio dramas, which Tony is on some, Flobo is on some. That's some.
Adam Willsby on some. Yeah.
I hope. I probably won't get booked. I'm not big enough. I'm just saying.
No matter. What's your voice? That's all I care about. So I have all these audio dramas that are out right now. I have 11 of them that are out right now, from Forever and a Day to Fairview Heights, which is about Inglewood. They're all out now. Wherever you listen to anything, you can find them. They are there. And we have more coming out in the summer, the fall, and winter. So yes, go ahead and check those out wherever you find them.
Come on, seasons.
Let's see, all seasons.
All you gotta do is call, and I'll be there. That's why I don't have any albums out.
That's right. And Flobo has his short story coming out this Saturday on the Really Short Story podcast on JLJ Media. Is and Izzy. It's a great little story. They want a sequel, Flobo, so we're gonna see one of those.
We'll talk about it. Yeah.
It's not a short story. It's vertically challenged story. That's
you know how it is. Big stories around it. It was all perception.
Okay.
And then my online network is JLJ Media. So hit that subscribe button. I've over 35 shows, from Star Wars to being left-handed to soap operas. I do the soap block every Sunday, just like Tony does. Y&R, Bold and the Beautiful, and The Young and the Restless, and General Hospital.
He basically covers everything that I don't, because I only do Days of Our Lives.
Hey, when there's a niche, you got to fill it.
Is it a niche though? Everything else?
They show up. And then this Monday, on my birthday, the last Forever was When Calls the Heart Happens, which is the season finale of season 8. The Hardys show up live. We have the executive producer, Brian Bird, on the show. He is showing up with us. So we're very excited for Hallmark. Thank you, Hallmark Channel, for your support, of course, with that. And then, you know, you can find me.
There's more.
There's one. He's got something else, though. He is also a producer on my new series, On the Fence.
Well, I don't know if you want to announce that or not. I don't know if you want to announce that. You announced it.
Hey, it's been out there since April 14th, bro.
Okay, so yes, he has a show called On the Fence, and I'm one of the executive producers. And also going to be in it also as a character.
What kind of show is this? A web series? Audio drama?
It's going to be a pilot presentation, sizzle trailer with some episodic clips that we are pitching to networks.
Okay. Oh yes,
he was the first one cast in the show.
I was.
You know, because James Lott Jr. got acting credits.
Yeah, I know. He's SAG. He's SAG certified. My goodness. Good God.
Thanks.
Yes.
Yes, we have that. We have that to look forward to also coming out. So I'm very excited about that too. I'm always working, folks. That's all I do is I work all the time. But I want to thank everybody who watched tonight, who is watching later. I see some names I recognize, like Cherie and B. Patterson, Kirsten Reed, Dylan Matthews. A bunch of you guys are in there. Thank you so much.
Hey, everybody.
Everyone,
Thank you.
please support the arts. Support the arts. The arts are just as important as politics, law, education. They enhance it. It's proven. Music, writing, dance, painting, everything. It supports the art, and support artists of color. Their content is just as good, if not better, than everybody else's. So go support it and check it out. And be kind. Rewind. We'll see you next time.
Not be kind, rewind.